right, welcome back to Whiskey Tango Fishing, folks. If you've been watching my videos, you know one of the first, actually the first video that I did was on a product called the Deeper Pro Plus 2 castable sonar. If you're fishing from a bank, especially if you're checking out and scouting new lakes, you're not sure what that terrain in a lake looks like underwater, it's a great tool to use to find out where those drop-offs are, where the structure is, any brush piles. It will also mark fish. It has a traditional fish finder display, and then it also has a simplified version that will actually show you little fish-shaped icons in small, medium, or large, depending on the type of fish that it is marking. The Pro Plus 2 has been phenomenal. However, they just came out, I believe it was released, it started shipping at the end of September with the Deeper Max. Okay, this is also a castable sonar, but there's some improvements here that I'm going to go ahead and key in on for you. And I'm going to read it off just so that I don't mess anything up. So with the Pro Plus 2, it had a 9-hour battery life. The Deeper Max has almost double that, right? It's got a 15-hour battery life. It's also got a 400-foot connection range. The one on the Pro Plus 2 was, I believe, 330 feet. The other nice thing is it's got a better sonar and more detailed. It's got 4 times the pixels in the Deeper app, the Fish Deeper app that you use to actually monitor the surroundings. And it will do 3D mapping built in. So any areas that you cast and retrieve, or if you have it hooked up on your kayak, they do have an adjustable mount that moves up and down with the water. It'll map out those areas that it scans on any lakes that you go to, so you can see what that 3D imagery looks like and what the bottom of the lake looks like. It's got 4 times the pixels, so better marking and better clarity in shallow water, especially depths like 15 feet and less. It'll pick up a lot more is what they claim, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hook this up. The neat thing is the Pro Plus 2 was more of a black color or a dark charcoal. This is a lighter gray, and it does come with a standard matching lighter gray top, but it also comes with what they call the night cover. It's just orange, so it's easier visibility. It comes with a couple of your connection point hooks, and what I have mine mounted on is an Ugly Stick Tiger Elite that's rated up to 5 ounces. This still weighs about 3.3 ounces. The Pro Plus 2 is 3.2 ounces. And I've got this hooked up with 65-pound braid and a nice heavy snap swivel, so that when I cast this out there, I don't have to worry too much about losing it, right? But they do have a subscription program. They have 2 different subscription programs. One, I believe, is $24.99 for the year, and that gives you access to different maps and other features. But they have another program that's a little bit more expensive than that. I forget exactly how much. I'll have to look it up, and if I get a chance, I'll put it in the notes below. But it'll also help with offsetting the cost of replacing the unit if for some reason it gets lost. Now, they do disable the unit that's reported missing, right? But I think you save about 85% if you have to get it replaced. So same type of concept. You've got to match up the waterproof markings on here to ensure that no water gets in. And when you take off this cap, there's a little rubber grommet that covers the USB-C charging port. And then there are 3 different mounting positions for this. If you're casting it out, you go ahead and you put it in the bottom position, right? You don't want it to go underwater, so when you cast it out, you want to retrieve it slowly so that you're not dragging that underwater, because then you'll lose Wi-Fi connectivity. The way this transmits is it connects through Wi-Fi directly to your phone in the Fish Deeper app. And then you see your scans coming up live as you're retrieving it. They do have a mount for fishing poles that you can hook a phone onto. I don't really trust something like that, because I feel like eventually I'm going to end up casting my phone out into the lake along with this. But I do have a chest mount that I'm going to go ahead and use. They do make a mount for your kayak. If you want to have a phone mount on the kayak, they make a mount if you're using a bank stick. It basically screws into the top of the bank stick, and then it'll stand right up there, so you could take it out in the water, or if you're on the bank, the edge of the bank, and have your phone up at eye level while you're retrieving it. I'm going to hook mine up to a chest mount, and we're going to get all set up, and then I'll be back with you, and we'll test this out, run it through its paces, and see how it compares to the Pro Plus 2. All right, so I got it all connected up. We're going to go ahead and cast out and see what we can pick up. Now it's marking fish right away. And you'll hear a audible tone if you set the fish alarm on in the app. So we've got fish out here that are just below the surface. And you just reel it in slow. You don't want to drag it under the water, but I've got a ton of fish out there. Ton of fish out there. It's marking fish all over the place. There's some hugging the bottom. Now you can set it the way I have it set to where it shows you the distance that the fish are from the surface of the water, or you can set it that shows you how far they are off the bottom. I like knowing how far they are from the surface of the water, and it's marking a ton of fish, and you can see the small, medium, and large fish icons that it's picking up. You can see the depth right now is 5.9 feet. Shows you your battery level, shows you the time of day. The water temperature is 52.2 degrees, and the battery level of the deeper is 95%. So it's marking a ton of fish out that way. We're going to go over here where I have my other trout line set. That's further. Now there it's only about 7.3 feet of water. We're reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling it in. And again, you can reel it a little faster when the water's calm, like it is today. But if, and there we go, marking some more fish. But if the water's choppy, you really want to go slow so that you don't drag it under the water, because you will lose connectivity with your phone. And what happens then is it's got to regain connection back to the phone, and while it does that, it's drifting out of position, and you're losing some valuable scanning time, right, while it's trying to reconnect back to the phone. So you just want to make sure that when you're reeling it in, you're not dragging it under the water, and you're just letting it do its job, and it'll mark everything that it picks up, and it'll map out the bottom. It'll show you where the hard bottom is. It'll show you where there's structure, and that type of stuff. And then again, it marks the fish. It picks the fish up. So we're going to cast it out one more time, and then I'm going to show you that 3D imagery. And you can launch it out pretty far because it's got some weight to it. Now we're in about 10 feet of water, and again, it's marking fish just below the surface, or 1.32 feet below the surface of the water. Now we got some hugging the bottom down there at 9 feet. So we've got some suspended, we've got some hugging the bottom. Again, not sure what types of fish they are, but it's marking a good number of fish, and these are some good sized fish as well. So they just did the fall trout stocking. Those medium and large icons are probably trout anywhere from 16 inches up to 24, 26 inches. It's marking a ton of them straight out in front of me, about 30 feet. And again, that's about 6 feet of water, 7 feet of water, and they're hanging just below the surface, about 1.5 feet, 2 feet below the surface. So now I'm going to show you what that 3D image looks like. So if you see here on the corner, it says 3D. I'm going to hit that, and now it gives me, I'm going to try to open this up a little bit. It gives me, and I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the screen, but here it's a little darker, and then you see a little shadowy where it dips down, and this all kind of levels out, but it's deeper. So here's where I'm standing, and then it'll show you the darker imagery, and it gets lighter as it gets deeper, and you got some shadows where there's some dips and little valleys and stuff like that. I didn't do a large area, so you're not getting a big representation, and this is fairly smooth contoured. This is an old sand quarry that they hit a ground spring, and that's what formed this lake. So there's not a lot of structure close to the bank, and it's fairly simple. But that's an idea of what that 3D imagery looks like. I'm going to put it back to 2D and go back to my scan, and it'll show you your history there. So in a nutshell, that's how it operates. That 3D imagery comes in very handy, again, when you're trying to figure out where those points are, where those dips are, those little valleys and channels are in the body of water that you're fishing. And it is a huge improvement over that Pro Plus 2. Do you need it? Not necessarily, right? The Pro Plus 2 is a lower cost option and still performs, still does a phenomenal job. But if you're like me and you want every bit of detail that you can get when you're fishing a body of water, the Deeper Max is the way to go. I believe it retails for like $279. It started shipping the end of September this year in 2025, and I'm really happy with the product overall. It is a huge improvement over the Pro Plus 2 that I already thought was an amazing product and a real lifesaver when I was spoiled from fishing out of a kayak and having my Lowrance with the 9-inch display, and now all of a sudden I find myself stuck fishing from a bank and not being familiar with the contours of the lake and what the terrain looked like below the surface. So if you're fishing from a bank, to me it's a must-have tool to give you the most information and make the most out of every fishing trip, especially when you're checking out new bodies of water. And what it does, it records what you're charting on the map wherever you've cast and scanned, but it'll record it when you remove the Deeper Max from the water. So sometimes it takes a minute, but it should update, and there it just did, where I just cast out and recorded. So after I remove it from the water, it goes ahead and updates the map. So overall, the connectivity is really good with this unit. The orange cap makes it a lot easier to see when you cast it out in the water, which is it's a nice feature to have, and the imagery works out really well. again, that 3D imagery. You can pick out contours. You might not be able to see it on the screen, but there's like some shadowing where you can tell that it's contoured down, and it's almost like a little a channel or between two humps, two ridges there on the surface or on the bottom of the lake. So the 3D imagery is a really nice feature. That's one of the reasons I got it. The battery life, again, 15 hours versus 9 hours with the Pro Plus 2. You got to figure, even with the Pro Plus 2, when I came out, I'm spending about 15-20 minutes scanning an area, right? And then I'm putting it up. So you're not using it for 9 hours straight, right? You're not using it the whole time you're out there. Now, if you're on a kayak and you have it mounted and you're moving around, you may be using the fish finder. So the battery life may be a little more critical. But if you're fishing from the bank and you're just trying to kind of map out the terrain of the lake and see where you want to start putting your lines in and where you want to start fishing and how you want to fish that area, you're basically scanning an area, getting an idea of the contours and the structure and the vegetation. And, you know, if you're marking some fish, you can kind of see where they're hanging. And then you're putting it up, right? Because you're spending your time fishing then. So battery life becomes a little more critical if you're in a kayak or a boat and you're using it constantly as your fish finder, right? But if you use it the way I do, where I'm basically mapping out a new lake, getting to know the terrain on a new lake, and then I'm not really using it that much, right? If I fish another area of the lake, I'm going to cast it in and I'm going to see what this area looks like, what that part of the lake looks like. But I'm not coming out here and using it for 9 hours or 15 hours straight. I'm mapping out my area. I'm getting an idea of the contours of the bottom of the lake and where fish may or may not be kind of hanging out and congregating. And then I develop my plan and start fishing. The detail in the maps is very good. I do notice an improvement in the resolution on the RAW. They say it's 4 times the pixels, especially in shallow water, 15 feet or less, right? So that's awesome. The ability to have the 3D mapping. Again, if I was in a kayak and I came out and I was fishing this whole lake here and I was zipping back and forth, I could mark this whole lake and kind of know where everything is, and I can put little markers on the map here, kind of say, you know, different locations or different catch points. If I've caught fish in different areas, I think you can mark all that stuff on there as well. You know, the ability to map out the lake and get to know the terrain that you're dealing with, to me, is a huge benefit. If you're looking to get one, do you need the 3D mapping? No, not necessarily. The Pro Plus 2 is about $100 lower cost, right? And it is an excellent product. But if you're somebody who wants that 3D imagery, who wants that longer battery life, who wants that extra detail, then go ahead and go with the Deeper Max, right? I believe that one's selling right now for like $279. The Pro Plus 2, I believe, is like $179 or $189, something like that, and you can find it on sale. If I can find a nice deal on one or find it available, I'm going to put links below for both of the units. But I don't think you can go wrong with either one. They're very good units. They're very solid. Again, put it on a rod, or I mean, you could even tie 550 cord, right? You can go ahead and use 550 cord and just you know, spin it and toss it out, depending on how far you want to get it. I put it on a rod because I like to cast it out. I've got 65-pound braid on there, and it works well for me. Do you have to have a whole setup dedicated to it? No, but don't put it on just any old rod, because it does weigh 3.3 ounces, and you don't want to snap a rod casting it out there, right? Make sure you've got some heavy braid on there. You know, I'm paranoid, so 65 is the lowest pound test braid that I would use. And I'm constantly checking the knot and making sure and looking at the snap swivel and everything else, because I don't want to launch it and not be able to get it back. So take that into consideration, but you know, you could always tie some 550 cord on and toss it out from the bank, and then just hand pull it in real slow and go from there. But you know, either one, I don't think you can go wrong with. The 3D mapping and the extra battery life is a really nice feature, especially if you're going to be in a kayak and using it as a primary fish finder, right? So take all that into consideration. Make your decision if it's something that that you think could be useful to you. Both of them have GPS, right? So both of them kind of record their location and everything. There are a couple other companies out there. They make some that don't have GPS. I mean, to me, if you're spending the money, get the one with the GPS that knows where it's at, and it's marking everything out, and it's saving all your scans on the lakes and the water bodies that you're going to in the app, so that you can reference it when you go back there, and you don't have to, you don't have to redo it again and again. All right. I hope you guys found this useful. Overall, I'm happy with it. The connectivity seems like it's a lot stronger, a lot better with this, and that was the one thing with the Pro Plus 2 that sometimes frustrated me. Now, I made a couple changes. I turned off mobile data and I turned off Wi-Fi assist on my phone, and that improved the connection. However, there were times when it dipped underwater that it would still lose connection, and I wasn't anywhere near the 330 feet. I probably cast out maybe 100, 120 feet at the furthest, right? And this one has stronger Wi-Fi. It's got a 400-foot range, where the Pro Plus 2 had 330 feet range. So it just seems like a stronger connection. I didn't get those dips even when I cast it out and it went underwater when it landed in the water and everything else. So the Wi-Fi does seem stronger on this. And so that's something too. But again, there's nothing wrong with the Pro Plus 2, and it's a lower cost option for you. So if you're fishing from the bank, that's probably the way I would steer you, is go with the lower cost option. However, it is nice if you're like me and you want those extra features, then go with the Max, because it is a phenomenal product, and I can definitely tell the improvement, and I like the 3D mapping built right in to the app. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put all this stuff up so I can actually get to fishing and hopefully catch a few fish to bring home and clean and give to my friends and family. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you mash that subscribe button. Anybody you know that would enjoy this content, share it with them, please. I'm trying to get this channel to grow. And I will catch you guys next time on Whiskey Tango Fishing.